Hello guys, I'm Luke Rosen, and today I'm going to be interviewing my dad, Eric Rosen, who is an astrologer.
What's up, guys?
Today I'm going to be asking you a few questions.
Oh, I'm nervous.
First one is, what is astrology?
Wow, great question. So, I would define astrology as the study of the predictable patterns of the cosmos, of the planetary bodies out in our solar system, and how that directly affects us here on Earth, like all living things here on Earth.
On to the second one. Who does astrology help?
Wow. My humble astrologer's opinion, I think astrology can actually help everybody. It's already been widely accepted by the scientific community that the moon's gravitational pull affects the tides of the ocean. Like the ocean, the biggest natural abundant resource on the planet. We don't even know what's at the depths of the ocean. And human beings are made up of this overwhelming majority of water in our bodies ourselves. So I don't think it's that far-fetched to believe that astrology affects everyone, because we can even, look and see like the fact that the moon's pulling on the ocean. Like, could it be that it pulls on us too as emotional creatures? Like when you get emotional, what happens? Like the tears flow. So yeah.
Great answer.
Thank you.
On to the third one. When did astrology start?
Wow. So I'm not exactly sure the exact date of when astrology started, but what I can tell you is that it's been around for a couple thousand years. Like this is like the technology that, and I will call it a technology that like even predated, religion. I mean, it was followed by, these indigenous yet really advanced cultures like the Mayans and the Egyptians who built these amazing pyramids. And it's something that they, of course, used to see, when were the days getting shorter, when were the days getting longer, when was winter coming, and things like that. And so, although it's been around for like this really long time, I don't think it's been antiquated in any way. I think if anything, because of the predictability of the stars, of the cosmos, I think that it's still a very useful asset to us like these days in modern times.
Now, on to the question I've been wondering this whole time, and
Yeah.
maybe some of you have.
Yeah.
How does astrology work?
Wow. So good question. So astrology is always looking at a couple of things. One, it's looking at the path of the sun, the four seasons, what it's doing. We can see that the sun, travels along the equator and hits the Tropic of Capricorn in the northern hemisphere, and then in the southern hemisphere, the Tropic of Cancer. And so it's really looking at what is this path of the sun and the seasons, but then it's also looking at what is our perspective from Earth, because that's what really I think matters here. It's like, because how is it affecting us? So it's our viewpoint of like how we see the stars. And this is why, like for example, when I do chart readings for people, it's very relevant to find out exactly where they were born and even what time they were born, to see, okay, your viewpoint from where you were born and what time was it, like what was going on like out in the solar system, and that how deeply that actually affects someone for their, we'll say, cosmic blueprint of like kind of how they're all unique and wired. So and then it's also looking at the geometric aspects that are going on out in the solar system. For example, it could be the planet Mars and the planet Venus appear to be, in the western horizon for our viewpoint on Earth on this side, and then the eastern horizon, and it's almost like they're opposing each other, like one's on this side, one's on that side. And so looking at what does that mean for us when we've got Venus on one side and Mars on the other, and it's like we turn our back to one or the other, and it's like, what does that create? What influence does that create on us in our day-to-day lives?
Now, on to the fifth question. Why should people care about astrology?
Wow, I think the number one thing in terms of astrology, why people, would find some really strong interest in it, is that when you look at everything going on here on Earth, like one thing we can guarantee is basically just the unpredictability. Like nothing is predictable. things somehow always balance itself out, but there's always like a little bit of chaos going on and some unknown. But I can tell you exactly where Saturn's going to be 60 years from now, like without fail, for example. Like, so the fact that there's like such predictability, I think that it gives us a sense of, even though we don't really know what's going to happen, we kind of like can rely on astrology to tell us like, okay, like this is at least when there's a storm coming. This is when the sun's going to be out. I'm speaking metaphorically here, but it gives us a chance to know how things are going to affect us whenever we're living in this just really unpredictable world. I think without it, it would feel like total chaos, and it still kind of does, but it's giving us, I would even say, a predestined aspect where, because we can tell you like where a planet's going to be 60 years from now, it's like that's already kind of been written. Like there's a predictability to that. There's a predestined aspect. And so while we do have free will, like we can go and we can do whatever we want. Like I could, walk away from this interview right now and like, go eat a cheeseburger or something. But the thing is that there is some, predestiny of like, well, these planets that affect us were always going to be there. And so is the free will just more affecting like what's already been predestined and the choices that we make in this, we'll say, predestined container. And so I think it's a really huge deal for everybody.
On to the sixth question.
Yeah.
Tell me about the name Big Hand, Little Hand Astrology.
So yeah, Big Hand, Little Hand Astrology is this new subscription-based astrology group that I just started, where it's going to be doing at least daily horoscopes, but also some weekly content as well. And it's going to be broken down into some really simple like basics in terms of the astrology. There's a lot of like technical terms that us astrologers use, but that people that I think are trying to learn astrology and want to use it to help them in their own lives to make decisions, to figure things out, or just generally finding out what's the mood of their day going to be. It's kind of hard to sort through all the lingo and the technical aspects. So breaking it down into like layman's terms as I go through the daily horoscope and saying what's going on and giving that information, but then explaining exactly like what is going on in the inner workings of astrology, but in terms that everyone can actually literally learn astrology as they're getting a horoscope. So the name Big Hand, Little Hand came out because back in the grade school days, our teachers, you probably remember this more freshly than I do, but they would use like this clock where they could like turn like the big hand, the little hand, the minute hand, the little hand, and that was how they would, teach the kids how to learn clock time. So it was just like a really basic, like the big hand goes here, the little hand goes here. And so like that's where that concept came up from. So you guys can search that out on Facebook. It's called Big Hand, Little Hand Astrology. It is a private group. I will add you into the group if you join. The first 7 days are completely on the house. They're free. You can check it out and see if you like it. After 7 days, it is $9.97 a month. It is a subscription paid service, but you can count on me to show up with this daily content where it's actually going to be teaching people astrology while giving them horoscopes. So get your dose of your horoscope that is going to be way more accurate too than just like some general like free sun sign astrology that you might find on the internet. And so yeah, I'm excited about it.
And the last and final question, what are we having for dinner?
Oh wow, pizza?
Yeah.
Let's go.